What was it like for me as a kid in my neighborhood was interesting. My neighborhood is very diverse. My neighborhood that I spent my young adult life at was very diverse, but I had a struggle kind of identifying who I was. So that made it difficult for me, and I'll explain why. I went to a school that's multicultural, and I'd get home, and my dad was really, really strict. In the house we spoke Spanish, at work we spoke Spanish, but yet I had a part-time job at an oil company, and it was all Anglo men, really men-dominated. And that was, it was a culture shock for me. It was different. So I had all these dynamics going on, and then trying to fit in at the playground, things of that nature. But I don't think I changed a thing from back then because it all taught me a little bit that added to me. So growing up in that neighborhood in New York City, I grew up in Queens, New York. And I tell you, it was probably the best experience I've ever had.
And Hector leans over and he says, hey Jay, when are you going to buy out Ford Motor Company? I was like, I don't know, I'm just completing a remodel. And George Frame says, I'll entertain an early buyout. And the wheels started spinning, and it's small business helping small business. It's the government involved in helping us become entrepreneurs. And that started the wheels in motion. And that's what kind of brought about today, and I've met many people along the way.
Hey, I think this is fantastic. This is a real opportunity for not only Jay, but for the Hispanic community to demonstrate that it can do the big jobs.
I used to live next door. My dad and my parents had a restaurant, and on the weekends I would work here with Frank, and we'd deliver furniture, we'd pick up furniture. It was a pretty good job to have over the weekend because I literally walked down the steps. I was right at work, so it worked out pretty good. I'm just shocked looking at the old neighborhood. The restaurant is now a laundromat. Upstairs, I have no idea what it is, but it seems a lot smaller coming back. So it's interesting just looking around.
Very important for me to communicate and write properly in my present position. But before that, early on when I joined Ford's Deal Development Program, I was in conversations, cocktail parties, and I realized that I had a deficiency from school type of thing. Conversations, they were talking about national issues, and I really wasn't overly concerned with what was happening in the country, much less what was happening across the world. And I quickly realized that I had to do something about that. So when you look at things like that, schooling in itself is very, very important because it molds you as an individual. So much so that I went back to Northwood University to get my degree, and I'm currently working on that. So it's not only the writing and the reading, it's just how you interact with other people.
Hey, she asked me to disclose it.
August Martin High School. This is where I went to school. You don't know the feelings you're gonna get till you kind of get there. And I'm just thinking of all my friends back then, wondering about them, how they're doing. I mean, we had a great time. Apart from the education of Northwood University, I go back and I speak to students, entrepreneurs, and tell them what it's like to be an entrepreneur in this world. So I'll tell you, stay in school, try to get as much education as you can. Last night, we're in New York City, I went by my sister's house, and my nephew was sharing, he's 21 years old, and he's in college, and he wants to start his own restaurant, and he wants to do both. And my brother and myself are having this conversation, and we both kind of agree that at this time, he should stay in school. He has plenty of time to develop a business, to do that, and commit himself to that. But it's hard to be a master to two things, to be a student and to open a business. So we kind of came to the consensus for him that he's going to stay in school. My brother's not going to give him the money to start a business, but his commitment was that he would help him get started once he graduated from college. And if I would have had to do it over again, I absolutely would have done that. And I know it's difficult, and you try to struggle between work and school. School's important, and it's always hard to come back to it later. You have a family, you have kids, responsibilities, mortgages. That's when you feel that pressure, and it's kind of hard to come back to school, and sometimes it takes a lot longer. So my advice is live your dreams, stay in school, and have fun while you're in there.
Without a doubt, we have to remember that Jay got here the old-fashioned way. He worked darn hard. He built this dealership up, and he worked hard himself, and that's the beauty of the American dream, is that anybody, if they work hard, can make it in our country.
My obstacle in high school, I don't think I really took it too serious my first couple of years in high school. I was trying to fit in, blend in type of thing. So probably my biggest obstacle was not having a clear vision of what I wanted. Going into my senior year though, things started to change a little bit, and I had the thought of what am I going to be when I grow up? And not having a clear role model or a clear definition of what I wanted kind of made it a little bit difficult preparing me for after high school.
Today's about the future. I was thinking about this last night, and the future just isn't being a private cap dealer and a potential of expanding with other Ford franchises. It's really about kind of my story. Several people, a lot of people, decided to help Jay Rosario. And my commitment to George Frame, Dave Lizagata, Ford Customer Service, the SBA is that we pledge to continue to help other people fulfill their dreams, because that's what it's about. So when we talk about the future, it's about being a part of that team that helps somebody else. And that is the dividends that I will pay back to you. So I want to thank you.
A role model could be anyone, because you could take bits and pieces from different people and decide that's what I want to be, or that's how I would like to respond in this situation. For me, my dad became my role model, but not when I was growing up. You know, I grew up not happy being a Hispanic. You know, everyone around me was not a Hispanic in the neighborhood that I lived. And I had a tough time. I had a tough identity time. I didn't know who I was. So from a role model perspective, I didn't have one. And it wasn't until I became a young adult that I actually seen how my dad, who doesn't have a formal education, doesn't know how to read or write, is a businessman. And he started as the dishwasher, worked his way up, and eventually owned his own restaurant, in which I was the cashier sitting on a milk carton. And he taught me business. And it wasn't until I was a young adult, you know, I used to look out to role models, to Winston Churchill. I used to look at a president for a role model, and I realized, you know what? My dad's my role model. It took me a little bit of time to figure that out, and I'm glad I figured it out while he's still with me. So we have these discussions. We travel together now. We have those conversations. So a role model could really be anyone. I say find the role model that works for you, works for your personality, and try to achieve it. Hi, here we are in Astoria, Queens. I'm at my dad's deli. What used to be my dad's deli, and it's changed hands several times. But it's kind of interesting. They've changed the layout a little bit, but there's some things that are still the same. Look what I'm standing on. It's the milk carton. When my dad owned the store, I was about 8 or 9 years old, junior high school, and I was too small to reach the cash register. So we had my own little milk carton, and this was mine. And this is what I would stand on to work the cash register. That's how the entrepreneurial spirit started. And after work, my job was to come in and stock all the shelves, load the soda in the vending machines, things of that nature. And it was a learning experience within itself that's paid off dividends that I didn't know I was going to reap the benefits of all those things.
My wife and I would like to thank everyone for joining us today. This is a day that's been in the making probably since, God, I hope I don't cry. Probably for the last 10 years. And an undertaking like this doesn't happen without a lot of support and help. Sorry. We love you, Jay. Thanks.
Today is a very happy day, and I think everybody can feel that. And I just want to tell Jay that I'm so proud of him for a lot of reasons. Not only because he's living his dream, which is really an American dream, but also because of the kind of man that he is. He is a very passionate man, and everybody can tell that. And that's one of the reasons why I believe that he's such a successful business owner. You cannot fake that. And I thought you did great, Jay. I'll tell you, if you ever want to consider another career in public service, I think that you're going to be a natural because you speak from your heart, and that is very, very important.
know, that's a good question. And kids with one parent, how do they overcome their challenges and obstacles? And I'm going to tell you this. Never let an obstacle be an excuse for failure. Just don't. I mean, just keep that in your head. I know it's easier said than done, but I remember watching the movie Finding Forrester. And in this movie, the young man who wanted to be a writer had one parent in a tough neighborhood, and he found a mentor in Sean Connery. And it was interesting because it didn't start as a mentor relationship, but ultimately ends up as that. So my advice to kids out there is truly this: be your own person and go for it. Don't let obstacles get in your way, because you know what? We all have obstacles. I mean, I can sit here and tell you, you know, it's parts that you like to forget, but it's part of an upbringing. I can tell you sitting on the cheese line, waiting to get the solid block of American cheese, happy to get it, standing there with my mom, then get on the back of the line to get another one. I mean, I remember those times. So again, we've all had obstacles. Some folks live in a foster situation. Some have one parent, some live with an aunt and uncle. Some have parents that are having their own struggles in life, whether it's rehab or the challenges. And the reality is, though, to be your own person, find a mentor. Find somebody who gives you that nourishment and support you need, and set a goal and go for it.
I came to Claremont. He asked me to come with him, and best move I've ever done. It's great working here. Positive environment. We both had our kids at the same time. We both have a boy and a girl, so our wives are good friends, and things have really gone well for us. And I'm real proud of Jay for what he's done, what he's accomplished, and I think he's going to be a fantastic dealer.
How to make it in life. I'll tell you how to make it in life. First thing is, listen to your mother. Whatever you do, listen to mom, because as it turns out, my mom is very right. If that's, I don't even know if I can say that. She is very right about a lot of things that I've come to learn as an adult. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, you know what? You have to live on past the obstacles, and you're going to have them. They're going to come. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days, but you always need to refocus and get up one more time than you get knocked down. I give an example to our employees. When you look at a baseball hitter, whether it's Sosa, whether it's Reggie Jackson, you know, they strike out probably more than anyone. See, but nobody talks about that, because you know what? They hit more home runs than anyone else also. So they have to get up to the plate, they have to swing again, and that's my example for an adult or a student starting out, is you have to have that tenacious attitude to come back and go get it. Set your focus and just go for it. Family life for me, my wife and kids, is really great right now. And again, I have to say, it's really being blessed. And it's not that I'm a religious fanatic or anything like that. It's nothing like that. But these things 5, 10 years ago, I couldn't imagine, much less accomplish. So sometimes you get that help from different places. You don't even know where it comes from. But for me, family's great. I got a little boy, Cooper, who's 3 years old, Carlin, who's 5. And my wife, I'm not going to tell you her age because she may not be happy, but we're the same age. So I guess I can tell you my age. I'm 34. She's not going to love that part of it. But anyway, family life is great and challenging. You know, being a young adult, trying to keep a marriage, trying to keep the magic in the marriage, and be an example for your children, run a business, and trying to develop a business just to expand it, creates some pressures. But it's been exciting, it's been challenging, and at the end of the day, it's really worth it. And I have a wife who's very supportive. In fact, I call her the CEO of the head of household, because she really keeps things together. I mean, without things at home being right, it's kind of hard to go out and conduct business and run a company. And for that, I'm very, very thankful. And I mean, I thank God every day that I have her leading that charge. Set a goal and go for it. Because I tell you, there's no one going to help you if you don't help yourself. I mean, that's one thing that's absolutely clear. But anyone looking to help themselves will find somebody that's willing to help them.